and welcome to another masterclass with Andy Gwynn, who's been keeping us well informed on LinkedIn over the past 2 sessions. And we're really looking forward to hearing what he has to say today. The topic being magic messages and powerful posts and how to get people to respond. I think what's really stood out for me in the last sessions is the importance of being found on LinkedIn, connecting with others, and then getting the different people to engage with us. So without saying any more, I'm going to hand you over to Andy. Thanks so much, Andy. It's lovely to have you here today.
You're welcome, Gail, and it's great to be back because I know we moved the dates around a little bit and I've been flying backwards and forwards to the UK. For those that have not been on previous sessions, excuse me, I'm based in southern Spain, but obviously from the UK originally. But we're doing some great work on LinkedIn with a colleague of Grant's and KZN Top Business, Marlene Powell, the action business coach down there in KZN, South Africa. And that's what led to this. So we'll give it a minute or so just to let any other people log in because we're right on the hour, although I have just been changing clocks around, having flown back to same time zone as South Africa. If you've got any questions about LinkedIn at all, drop them in the chat box. I'm going to run through some more great stuff today, and I will answer those questions towards the end. We'll run for an hour. I'll finish before in order to take the questions. Drop them in the chat box. If you've been on the previous 2 sessions, it'd be great to hear what you've done that's worked, and then maybe anything that any questions you've got from getting stuck into LinkedIn over the last couple of sessions over the last month or so. And if you've not been on any of the previous sessions, then I urge you to go watch the recordings because what I'm covering today will make sense. But I'm also going to link it into the fact that you can do what we're covering today, but if you haven't applied some of the things we've covered in the previous 2 sessions, you're going to lose and miss some opportunities. So we'll give it another minute, but just drop in the chat box, maybe whether this is the first session you've been to or any questions you've got about LinkedIn, whether it's relevant to the content we're covering today or not, because this is all about LinkedIn. And every other month, I'm writing an article for KZN's Top Businesses magazine and digital magazine around LinkedIn. And I'd urge you to connect with me, because we talked in previous sessions that if you and I are connected, we are what's called first tier connections. And what I'm going to cover today is how to search for people and find people, but how to engage with them, because LinkedIn is huge. It's global. I don't know, there's 750 million personal profiles on LinkedIn, let alone all the company pages. And so it is crowded. It is noisy, like everything nowadays. And it's about how you can engage with people to get the engagement. So if you connect with me, we become first tier connections. But then if I have a connection that you can find, a connection of mine that you're not connected to, they're classed as your second tier connections. They're second tier by way of fact that you and I are connected and it's a connection of mine. We don't need to go to third tier and beyond, because it's easy enough to find second tier, and it's easy then to create more engagement, more rapport. And I have over 20,000 connections. So you connect with me today, you will grow your second tier connections by 20,000. And if you think of this, I Googled it, the average CEO apparently on LinkedIn has about 1,000 connections. If each of those connections have 1,000, he's got close on 1 million second tier connections. It's just staggering you can get to anybody in the world. Now, when you do connect with me, I've alluded before and I'll touch on it, I use some automation that takes care of the grunt work for me. So it accepts connections, it connects for people for me in searches that I'm going to show you. So you will, and then send some welcome messages and messages that we'll talk about. So you will get an automated message. But the moment you message me, I reply personally to any inbound messages that I get. And that's the work we're doing for Marlene, who's generating leads and business in a coaching practice by connecting with people and automatically sending messages. So it's taking away all the hard work, because LinkedIn is huge. There's so much you can do with it, but the reality is you can't do it all. You don't have the time. You can't. It's an oxymoron. So if you are looking at, or you have LinkedIn in your business as part of your marketing process, part of your marketing strategy, and you need to be connecting and messaging your connections more consistently and maybe at a higher volume, then you need to reach out and give me a shout. We need to look at how automation can help you leverage that and get you better results. So drop any messages. There's only a few people on the webinar. There's more people coming in. There's no messages yet. Anything you want to know about LinkedIn. And this session, as Gail said, is I'm going to show you how you can search for people, how you can engage, and then I'm going to talk about the power of posts, which I touched on a little bit in the last session. So I'm going to jump straight in, and what I'm going to do is share my screen. Gail, if at any point you've actually disabled participants screen sharing, so I can't share my screen at the moment. I hope you're still there and you can hear me. If you can give me access to sharing the screen or make me co-host, that would be great. Otherwise, there you go. Otherwise, I'm going to do a lot of talking and you're going to have to scribble notes. And I urge you to scribble notes or make notes anyway, because the reason I'm working with Marlene down in South Africa, who's a top business coach working with business owners, is that was my background. That's how her and I met. And fundamentally, as a business coach, what I say to people is, I don't care what you think about me. I care about what you go away and do. So I'm going to I'm going to jump straight into searching. Now, what you should be able to see here is Sales Navigator. Sales Navigator is a subscription premium of LinkedIn. There's a couple of premiums. 60% of LinkedIn's revenue is jobs and recruitment. They have a huge job board. I have clients that are just recruiting their team through the use of LinkedIn. It's phenomenal. So if you're recruiting or you're looking for work, you can go look around the job section. 20% of their revenue is paid ads. Obviously, like all the other platforms, they want people to pay for advertising. And then the other 20% is premium subscriptions. Now, the only reason I use Sales Navigator is because of their search function here is far more granular and far more powerful. And so very quickly, I'm going to show you just around some of the filters and some of the functions of the search function. And I would really say, again, if you are using LinkedIn consistently to generate leads and contacts, then I've said the only way you can really do that consistently and at any scale is to automate the process. And in order to automate the process, we need Sales Navigator because we need to be able to use the search. And this was actually a search I did yesterday for a prospect of mine who's another business coach looking to target electrical wholesalers. So you can see what I put in the search box here was the word electrical wholesaler. Then you see there's a whole bunch of filters down the side that you can open up. You can sort by company headcount. So if you're looking to target businesses of more than 50 employees, you can select it there. You can, there's some of these 80-20 rule. 20% of these filters I use 80% of the time. I have searched for people in current companies. I did have a client who said he wanted to get to current or past CEOs of certain banks in the UK. So we could use past company type, title, past job title, functions. But what I've done here is I've searched by seniority level. So I've gone senior, entry level, director level. You search by managing director, all sorts of things there. And here you can search by connection. So if I wanted to get to potential or new contacts, I could search just secondary degree connection. And now I'm relying on my internet being great. It says there that there's 285 results of people that have got the word electrical wholesale or wholesaler in their business. I've searched geography by the UK and by these seniority levels. Now that just shows probably how few people in that industry my connections are connected to, but you can see here, third degree, which I can also get to, there's over 1,500. And if you scroll down, you can then be connecting with these people. And what it tells you is how many shared connections you have. So when I connect with these people, you will remember from other sessions, I said the mantra in your strategy is to be able to find, connect, and engage in the right way. So I could actually click on these shared connections and see who they are. And if I knew somebody really well, I could call them and say, hey, how well do you know this guy, Jeff Coffin? I'm looking to see if I can help him with the supply of his PPE, safety footwear, whatever it might be. And that person might say, I know him really well. Here's his cell phone, mobile number. How cool is that? I could ring the guy and say, hey, our mutual connection, someone I know well, John, give me your number, said you might be interested in looking at how I can save you money, make your life easier. Now, if you're not automating, you could screenshot these. And it's now looking like participants can now see my screen. So I'm hoping this is making sense. What is it? Never worked with children or animals or the internet. But I know it's being recorded. So you could screenshot these people and you could go look up their profile. You could go connect with them. Now, the great thing with this is second degree connections. My connection message, and always personalize your message, would say, hey, Jeff, I came across your profile. I'm looking to connect with people in the electrical wholesale industry, and I hoped we could connect, especially as we share some great mutual connections, because it's a given if they're second tier connections to me. And then what you can do is you can save the search. And if we jump in, this is my profile and my sales navigator. Here are all the saved searches that I've got. Because what my automation allows me to do, or what it will do for me, is log in to my profile, log into my sales navigator, go into the search that I tell it, and it will go and connect with these people. And then ideally what you want to do once they've accepted is you want to send them a welcome message. And I'm going to give you some examples because I call them magic messages. You really want to send them a welcome message. Hey, thanks for accepting my invite. You'll see from my profile, this is how I help people. Wondering if this might be of interest to you. People are paranoid about being pushy and salesy. People tell me they get bombarded by, I know this is being recorded, poor, awful sales messages. What I'm looking to do is give people content. So you can see down the left-hand side, for instance, this is a message that I've got being sent out to my connections. I'm running a webinar on Wednesday called How to Raise Your Profile, blah, 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 blah. I'm trying to look for messages that I might send to someone when I've connected is a welcome message. Now, I talked about uploading content and assets into your profile. Content of value, it could be checklists, it could be an article, a post, it could be a link to your site. For instance, I've worked with a property developer that when he's connected with people, he'll say, thanks for connecting. You'll see from my profile, I am a developer developing property in rural Portugal. I use investors' money and give them a great return on their money. If you're looking at getting a better return on your money than you might in the mainstream banks, have a look at my website here and download my investor pack. He can then take it off LinkedIn offline and monitor who's downloaded his investor pack. He can follow them up. I will then send a follow-up message a few days later. Hey, don't know whether you've had a chance to have a look at the document I sent you on why buying safety footwear is so powerful, or how you can, the 9 tips to creating a powerful profile, whatever it is of value to your audience that you're looking to engage with. Sure, you've been busy, but if you haven't had a look, here it is again. And then I will send a second follow-up. So I've sent a welcome message, a follow-up, and then another follow-up a few days later saying, again, not sure you've had a chance to look at what I've sent you earlier, but here's another document. Here's a checklist or a short video on how you can achieve X, Y, and Z. If it's of interest, happy to talk with you. The great thing with LinkedIn is if you refer to the last thing you've sent, have a look at some of my videos on YouTube. Let me know if you'd like to chat through. Here's my 9 points to create a powerful profile. They can see it above. It's not like email where they might delete the email off. That's part of the power with LinkedIn. Now, for me, if they haven't responded after 3 messages, they're then sat there as first tier connections of mine, and I can message them at a future date. Back in Sales Navigator, you can search your first tier connections. You can get very specific on who you want to be engaging with. So what that's doing for me is just freeing me up to respond to inbound responses. This guy here said, I'm not sure. Now, here's the challenge for a lot of people in sales is they just move on. And we've probably heard the mantra that the bell curve, traditional bell curve says most people, the bulk of people will buy or respond after about the 8th follow-up call. And most salespeople give up way before then. So this guy, and I know it's an autoresponder, he's just clicked on the I'm not sure. So I've gone, what are you not sure about? And he's replied, which has only just come in this morning. So I'm going to mark that as unread there, because I'm going to show you how I keep my messages inbound. Because while LinkedIn is great at the search function, it's great to be able to engage directly with the individual. It's not a CRM system, and their messaging sequence and boxes is a little bit clunky. And I often get asked this. If you notice, I've got two windows open on LinkedIn. I've got LinkedIn open twice, because I keep one of them where I tag the messages as unread. So I tag them all as unread, and I keep refreshing that. Here's the one big caveat. If I then click through to someone's profile and came out of this messaging box, that top unread message from Alan Kempson would open itself. So that's why I keep one window of all my messages unread, so I can refresh it, because you can see I've replied to some people. And I have one there of all people that are unread. So those are people I've got to respond to. But also, if I've messaged someone and I think I want to follow them up, I will message them back and then tag that message as unread. So I can scroll through my unread messages here, and I can keep engaged with them. And then if I want to surf around LinkedIn, if I want to have a look at people's profiles, I'll go into the second tab, for instance, and then I can click on people's profiles and I can have a look at them. I trust that makes sense. Then messaging function, as I say, or the storage of it's not a CRM system. It's a little bit clunky. Now, I said my mantra is to find, connect, and engage. I've also said previously that I'm looking to get the conversation offline as quickly as possible. So once somebody's responded and said, hey, can we talk? I might drop them an email. Now they're into my CRM system. So you can play around with the search function here without Navigator, which we talked about in the last session. But my recommendation is, if you're looking at using this consistently to generate leads, to search for people, it's worth a subscription of Sales Navigator. But if you're going to do that, then I would be suggesting you look at how you can automate it, make it consistent daily and weekly, and scale it up. Otherwise, you can use Sales Navigator manually, certainly what I did in the old days. So think about your connection message, but then when someone responds and accepts, your welcome message back to them needs to be nice. You need to give people something. So thanks for connecting. You'll see from my profile, I help people like you achieve X. And here's an article I've just written. Here's a PDF on how you can easily achieve X. Hope it's of interest. Love to hear your thoughts is a great phrase I use, because my follow-up message is, what did you think of what I sent the other day? Have you had a chance to look at it? By the way, here's something else. Send them another PDF, send them another checklist, send them another short video, no more than 3 minutes, send them an article, send them a link to your blog, send them a link to your website, but it's got to be of value to them. And then my follow-up does the same. So every message I'm sending out, there is what I call an asset. There's some information for them. And make your messages short and succinct. That one you saw for my webinar, maybe a little bit lengthy, but it's about the webinar. And make it with what I call, what I've talked about in previous sessions, as the what's in it for them. So although I said this was a bit lengthy, is it really? I'm running a webinar on Wednesday 24th, so straight away they can see whether that date's suitable for them. Here's what it's called: How to Raise Your Profile, Get More Business Without Being Pushing Salesy, which is what we're covering specifically throughout these sessions for KZN. I have it as a LinkedIn event here. I'll share the exact sequence I use to get my own post, blah, blah, blah. On it, you will learn 1, 2, 3 things. I look forward to seeing you there. PS, feel free to forward this on. So you've got to talk about what they will get from your document, what they will get from your PDF. I've put here, hope your new job gets off to a flyer. There's so many things you can do with LinkedIn and that are undervalued and underutilized. My automation, the moment someone changes their experience section, if they've got their settings set in the right way, LinkedIn will push that out to their network. So why wouldn't you, rather than just click the automatic congratulations on the new role, why not weave in a bit of a promo message, sales message, call to action? I hope your job gets off to a new flyer. I'm sure you'll be busy with your new role. as you settle in, if you're posting on LinkedIn or planning to, you might be interested to know that we've developed a process that helps you create powerful content, generate thousands of views of your posts. Here's a brief video explaining how it works. Nice thing with that video link, and I use Loom, is that it pulls the thumbnail through there. Let me know your thoughts, and congratulations again on the new role. Thank you, Andy. It's kind of you. I've just had someone this morning. That sounds great. I'll look at it later and let you know. I can now engage with them. I say, did you have a chance to have a look at it yesterday? What are your thoughts? Do you want to chat through it? So wishing people congratulations on the new role. I do the same with the work anniversary, but I personalize the message slightly differently. Hey, congratulations on the work anniversary. I don't know about you, but I can't believe how fast the last year has gone. If this anniversary has prompted you to think about how you might be able to reduce your electricity bills, or how you might be able to save money on your phone bills, or how you might be able to get more out of LinkedIn, here's something worth looking at, and attach it or put the link in. Hope it's of value. And I always sign off with let me know your thoughts, because it's a nice, neutral psychological phrase. You know, it's not pushy, it's just let me know your thoughts. What a lot of people will do now with LinkedIn is they'll just hit the auto respond, the thumbs up, the thank you, the whatever. Have a look at their profile. If they really are an interesting profile that you want to engage with, go back to them. Like that guy, I know he hit the message that just said, I'm not sure. He didn't type that. That was the autoresponder. So I went back to him and said, what exactly are you not sure about? Now he's come back to me. I will engage back to him. So think about how you can turn responses inbound to conversations. But your messages need to be of value. Got to have content, got to have something that's going to be of value to them. I'm doing a lot with Post Party Club there. We'll talk about that. What else have I sent out lately? This lady, I'm interested in your event. I'm just trying to find something with some different content going back to 2019. So she hasn't shown up in that many searches with different ones. This was a lengthy message, but I was franchising my business back then. Thanks for accepting LinkedIn. You said that you're someone who's looking for opportunities. Now, interestingly, if there's franchisors out there or people looking at maybe network marketing, it is stunning the amount of people who put in their profile and their headline looking for opportunities, but they don't tell you what sort. So I said, I wondered if the opportunity to establish your own business as a LinkedIn coach might be of interest. We have a model where you can market, sell, and deliver thousands. So something that's going to grab their attention. If it's of interest to you, have a look here. So always be putting back something of value that they see. I hope that makes sense. I will come off share at some point. We'll look at any message, any of the chat questions, any questions around this at all, drop it in the chat box, because what I also want to share with you now is strategies around posting. Pre-COVID, I was getting people ask me to speak, and I'd say, what do you want? You know, what's of interest to your audience? What do you want me to cover? And it was always about how can you get your profile strong so people can find you. We covered that in session 1 and session 2. And then how can we find people, which we've covered. Now people are saying, we're posting, my audience is posting, our businesses are posting. We want to know how to post, what we can post, and how to get results from posts. So what I will do is I'll play this as a full slideshow so you can see the whole slide deck. So I trust you can see this. I know I'll have Gail come on and say that she can't. Someone's just put something in the chat. Let's make sure you can all see it. Gail has said, and I'll cover this because we spoke about it briefly, should your messaging be informal or formal? Great question. Before I move on to posts, for me, there is a great book by a guy called Alan Pease. He's written a bunch of books around psychology and relationships with his wife, Barbara Pease. And he's got one of the books is called Write Language, but it's spelled W-R-I-T-E. And it's decades old now, and it's about writing letters. It's relevant to emails, and it's certainly relevant to LinkedIn and to anything. And he talks about how long gone are the formal letters. I might meet the occasional old person or the occasional solicitor maybe, or people where there's still old language. So I never start with dear sir. It's always, mine is hi first name. my simple answer to this is write as if you're speaking it. You know, Gail was saying she's found this difficult or interesting over a period of time where people are seeming more informal. I won't use text speak, but I will write as if I'm talking. I get people and colleagues from Australia, their opening gambit is "G'day, Andy," and it's spelled G''day," and I've recognized that that's the way they speak. So hi, John, and write as you would speak. So for most people, it's informal. Now, I get if there's a big corporate lawyer, and my brother is, and I've dealt a lot with corporate, that they, and maybe like police officers might speak in a longer fashion, and therefore they might write that. But actually, my caveat over that would be think about who you're talking to. So I certainly wouldn't use slang and abbreviations if I was talking to someone from a formal background. So the best book to read, and it's a nice short book, and it will teach you how to write quotes and proposals, and it will teach you how to write emails, is Write Language by Alan Pease. So yeah, definitely as you want to speak to. And a few years ago, I might have said, well, if I was talking to a CEO of a big business, I might keep it more formal and shirt and ties and everything. I learned a big lesson a few years ago. I got invited to present in front of a whole board of a PLC in the UK. There were about 11 board members. And I did go suited up. Now I just wear black T-shirts, and I might wear a formal jacket if I'm speaking at a conference. But I remember talking to the CEO. We were doing business, and you could only ever get to speak to him if his PA gave you a time, and she'd say if you ring him at 4:15, he'll be going from the train station into his car. You'll get him in his car. And I remember saying to him, we've got a relationship. I'll tell you his name in a second, or his first name. I think it was Alex. And I said, I don't envy you. He said, what do you mean? I said, you must be earning hundreds of thousands a year. And he went quiet. I said, it doesn't matter. I said, but you're always busy. I only get to catch you, when you're in the car in between appointments. I said, it's 4:15 on a Friday afternoon. You're my last call of the day. I work for myself from home, and then I'm going up the pub. And I can't repeat what he called me. But we've got this relationship. I think people are fearful of how to speak to someone. And after all, doesn't matter to me. My father was a retired colonel in the army. He was a doctor. We mixed with professors. I've dealt with CEOs. They're all human beings. So it's a long answer, but I would say write as in the way that you would talk to someone. And yes, be mindful of who the audience is. Because I certainly wouldn't use technological jargon to a layman, depending on what I was talking about. Which links in a bit nicely with this. Just to recap, this is my formula for success. I urge you to write this down. It's been profound for so many people. It stands for massive action times, it's a formula, times the right stuff, times consistency equals results. And if you think about it, all right, LinkedIn have a load of limitations and they're scanning for all sorts of things. Happy to talk you through that if and when relevant to individuals. But let's say, I know, for instance, we can easily send out 40 invites to new connections a day. And again, I keep laboring the need for automation because you just can't really do it manually. But is that massive action? Yes, it is. Most people aren't doing anything near that. So let's say I send out 40 invites a day. But let's say it's to the wrong people. Let's say my connection message is poor. Massive action times 0, because RS is about the right stuff. Massive action times 0 equals 0. But let's say you've adapted your connection invite, you're then sending a welcome message, you're doing the right stuff. But let's say you send out 40 invites on Monday and you do some follow-up welcome messages afterwards, and that's it. Next week you do nothing. Massive action times the right stuff times 0 equals 0. So if you're not getting the results you want in your LinkedIn activity, your marketing, your business, your personal life, which of these areas do you need to work on? MA times RS times C equals results. Now, you can always take more action. And a lot of these sessions really are about the right stuff, how to do it in the right way. But I also see from years, I think it's a human trait. We are wired as human beings in many weird ways. And one of them is we're not the best at doing things consistently. We need to build a habit to do stuff. Ask top athletes about their diet, about their training regime. They are masters at consistency. So have a look at, a lot of this is about the right stuff, because actually, rather than me sending out 10 invites today, rather than me sending out 40, what if those 10 are targeted to the right people with the right messages, with the right value, with the right asset sent? Then I'm likely to get more results than if I send out 40 a day and it's not the right stuff. It's the poor target audience, it's the poor messaging, it's the poor engagement, the poor responses. So it's often more easy to increase our activity. It's about getting the right stuff, and it's about consistently. I have just had a voicemail yesterday from a client of mine I used to coach, and I've got to look it up, but it's got to be 15 years ago. And she said, I've been seeing your stuff on Facebook and Mary, my partner's stuff on Facebook. I'm now running this group. Can you come and speak? That's because the marketing has been going out there consistently. So have a think about what we need to do. But the last 2 sessions, there was more homework to write your profile in the right way, to maybe create some assets. That's the massive action up front. What we've been talking about on the end of last session and this session is about doing the right stuff. This is about and doing it consistently. This is where you need to map out a bit of a plan and go, okay, what can I be doing each day, each week to make it consistent? So let's see if we can move this on. Let's look at the content opportunity. I said this was about posts. More and more people are posting. There's been a massive surge of posting. And the challenge is people are posting disengaging, unengaging, poor stuff in the same way they're bombarding with people with unengaging, if that's the right word, poor messaging. There is a massive content opportunity. We've talked about direct engagement, how to find people, how to connect with them. But posting on LinkedIn, similar to posting elsewhere, whether it's blogs, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Facebook, posts will feed your direct engagement. You'll remember from the last session, I said, I had somebody connect with and book a call with me. And I said, how come we're not connected? And he said, I've been reading your stuff for 3 months. I now need some help. Like my ex-client who rang me this week, I now need some help. It will feed your direct engagement. More people will view your profile. I've said previously, you need to connect with people who viewed your profile. Think about it. Some of them have done it for a valid reason. Granted, 80–90% of them haven't got a clear strategy. They're just surfing around. But I want the 10–20% that have done it for a valid reason, because I've done business with those people. Your posts will feed your direct engagement. And there are something like, I'm sure the detailed people can go check this out, but I'm more interested in the principle. Remember, I said as a coach, I care about what you go away do, not what you think of me. And I had someone yesterday who said I get hung up too much over the detail. We've probably heard of paralysis by analysis. There are a huge amount, about 9 billion post impressions a week on LinkedIn. Post impression is something that shows up in your feed. There's a high level of readership of this stuff, and you have a captive audience. I put literally back at the beginning of COVID, but it's still relevant. You have a captive audience. People are on there. People are looking for information. And so it's how we capitalize on this. But the reality is there's less than 1% of people posting on LinkedIn, and most of them don't have a clue. You will see content, you will surf through stuff, you will skip off stuff because it's not grabbing your attention. I have a tech team. I've talked about my technology and my automation, and we'll talk about Post Party Club that I mentioned and what we've done with that. And don't ask me how they got hold of this, but they got hold of 30,000 LinkedIn premium users, including Sales Navigator users that we've talked about. And they discovered that 20% of them, I think, so what's that, 30,000, 6,000 of them were posting twice per week, but getting less than 10 engagements per post. And what I mean by an engagement is someone liking or commenting on your post. It's poor. It's about engaging in the right way, massive action, right stuff. So let's look at what we can do, the content opportunity we've got. In the old days, I'm talking probably 15, 20 years ago, I was taught and I would teach that you need to go out there and touch your prospective client, your audience, 7 to 14 times before most of them will engage with you. They've probably got to see your email, maybe your website, maybe a direct mail letter. Now you could add a 0 to that because they may see on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. I spoke to a guy yesterday, he said, I am sending out direct mail as well. I said, I think that's perfect because not many people are now doing it. We've seen waves of direct mail got saturated, then people used email. Now we're switching off to email, but we're not now. It's coming back on. So you need to keep touching people. The people that say to me, oh, I don't want to bombard my audience. I don't want, and I heard this again yesterday, and I go, you won't. Most people don't see it. They might not be ready to pay attention to it. You have to keep consistently communicating with your audience. And every time you post something on LinkedIn, it shows up in the feed, that's up in your feed, and it's building your personal brand, your awareness. And remember, be mindful that there are what I call LinkedIn lurkers watching. The guy who booked a call with me, I said, we're not connected. You're not in my database. We're not connected on LinkedIn. How come? He said, I've been reading your stuff for the last 3 months, your posts on LinkedIn. I now need some help. I said, but you've never liked, you've never commented, you've never engaged on anything I put out there. He said, no, I don't do that. I'm just looking for the information I need. And when I'm ready, I contact the people I need to contact. These are LinkedIn lurkers are in abundance. And I've just had someone say, oh, posting's not working for me. And there's a bunch of reasons when we're looking at it. But also it's this consistency. Now, I'm not marketing and posting on LinkedIn hoping someone after 3 months of looking at my stuff is going to contact me. I'm looking at the right stuff of creating content that gets inbound. I call it content that converts, which we'll come on to, because people say, so what should I be posting? Well, the types of content you can share, there's obviously, I talked about a post is your feed post. Now, a post has typically for years been 1,300 characters, not words. LinkedIn, I love and hate them. They make changes for change's sake. They've recently extended that to 3,000 characters. I don't know why. Now, my fear is most people are writing poor content. They'll just take twice the amount of space to write twice as much poor content. But I think my other thought is I've had 19 years of LinkedIn where we expect posts to be fairly short and succinct. Articles can be longer, blogs can be longer. So actually keep your posts short and succinct because that's what your reader has expected. If I'm not used to and not likely to be reading 3,000 characters unless it's really punchy, but actually grab my attention in your post and then point me to wherever the full article is or the full website or the full content. So just because they've now extended it to 3,000 characters, my personal view is I wouldn't necessarily max that out. Whereas when writing your about section in your profile that we talked about, I would use all the space you've got. Images grab attention. I definitely use images in my posts. It makes you stand out from more people. And if it grabs people's attention, they're more likely to read your post. And I talk about native video. That's video that you upload into your post because LinkedIn is run by algorithms. LinkedIn wants unique content. So don't just copy and paste something from your blog, but they also want unique engagement. And what they want to do is they want engagement because they want to keep people on their platform so that those people paying for paid ads, more people will see the ads. Now, so they don't want you taking people off the platform. So if you put a link into your YouTube video or wherever else, your website, the algorithm will suppress your post. So if you are going to do that, there's a nice little hack where you can refer to it and you can put the link in the comments below, or you can put it in your profile, tell them to go look at your profile. You can put your profile link in there. You don't need that. They'll just click on your post and it will take them through to your profile. But if you're going to upload video, upload the video straight as native into your post. Obviously documents, presentations, an article sits on your profile. So you can post about your article. I tend to chunk my posts down into snippets of my articles and refer them back to my article. An article is a bit like a blog. Nice thing with your articles is they sit on your profile that we talked about, but also it's those articles you can use in your direct messaging. Attach them as PDFs to your DMs, your direct messaging that we've just spoken about. And commenting is an easy way to engage with people. LinkedIn wants to see unique engagement, remember, but more importantly and selfishly, you want to engage with people to get the conversation offline. And this is included in LinkedIn's algorithm. They want to see engagement, and I'll come on to that. And remember, it's visible on your profile. I probably don't need to say this, I'm sure, to a bunch of professional businesses, but be mindful of what you're saying. I'll never enter an argument with someone. I'll close it down quickly, or just say something neutral and open-minded, or move on. I certainly don't talk about politics and religion or anything too volatile. I might challenge people, we'll come on to that, but it's visible on your profile, it's building your brand, and it's the best way to be considered a thought leader is to participate in discussions. How do we post? Not how do we post, what can we post? Value, I keep reinforcing this, is vital. It's about educating your audience and inspiring them. It's about hitting them with their pain and problem. And it's about giving them some solutions and ideas so they want to talk to you about it. So within our membership, I've got an awesome guy who is a master at teaching people how to write content. He posts through our post party because he gets massive exposure. We've got the 7 most successful posts that he's ever posted. But stories sell. Metaphors are stories. Metaphors and stories sell. I was told stories by my grandfather. We picture things as human beings. So you could write your post in the form of what we call the hero's journey. So you can tell the story of someone who got better and better, or struggled with this and then saved money by using your product, or save time, creating a third person hero. As I said, stories or metaphors sell. You can make any story up around, can't you, around the message you're wanting to get. It is not about you. It's about what you can do for people. Actually, it's about talking to the audience about their problem and what they're looking to achieve. Do it in conversation format. John was talking to James and said, what about this? And he said, what about that? And you can take them through how they found the solution for the problem they have. Case studies, testimonials. Case studies are powerful because a bunch of reasons. We talked about building recommendations on your profile, so you could use those as a case study. And the challenge, I like the challenge because it will, for me, I attract the right sort of people. I could put a post that says, if your LinkedIn headline says blah blah blah, then it sucks, or if it doesn't say XYZ, it sucks. Now, I've got a client of mine who's a master at this, and he says, if you are not creating a bit of a challenge, if you are not getting a little bit of controversy with people out there, if you're not upsetting, at least, I don't mean grossly, but if you're not upsetting somebody at least, then your content probably isn't good enough, because we cannot please all of the people. Not all of the people all the time. We cannot please all of the people. You know, I've mentioned my automation. I will be sending out up to 500 messages to 100 of to Marlene's connections a day, 500 a week. We're going to get 1 or 2 now and again that get a bit upset, whether that's about the content. And remember, you never know where they're at. So I like the challenge because it provokes a reaction. I want people to comment back on my posts. That's the big thing. I want to provoke the reaction. I want to get people commenting on my posts. And then there's what I call the mechanics of posting. So this is about getting more exposure, more views, and more engagement. Hashtags, that little symbol there. People can follow hashtags, which are topics or topics. So you could research, you can search on LinkedIn for the sort of hashtags by the keywords you think your audience might be looking for that are relevant to your business. Now, there is an optimum number, and I keep Googling it, but roughly I would say, don't put any more than 3 hashtags in a post. Don't do what a lot of people do and just list a dozen of hashtags at the end. It looks crap. People zone out. It looks crass, is what I meant to say. It looks contrived and marketing. I want to read your content because it's of interest to me. Now, by all means, create a library of 11 or a dozen hashtags and swap them around and see which works best. Get some hashtags where there's hundreds of thousands of people following it. Get some very niche hashtags about your business product where maybe only a few people are following it, but you know they're ideal. And if you get smart, you can use the hashtag within the sentence and paragraph of your post. I've talked about external URL links. Do not put external URL links in the body of your post. The algorithm will suppress that. And then you can be tagging other people and think cleverly about this. I've just had a client, he was connected to somebody he knew who was a global author, got tens and tens of thousands of connections, and he was writing his post and he said, here's a quote, and I was given it by a great friend of mine at Andy Gwynn, and I thank him for it, blah, 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 blah. Now that person, if they're monitoring and looking at their notifications, might see that. If the content and the post is of value, what will they do? Like it? What if they share it and it goes out to all their network? And he did, and it went huge. So again, don't just, I keep getting tagged in Facebook and it says you have been tagged or you've been mentioned with 83 other people. I don't even read the post because I know what they're doing to just try and manipulate stuff. But mention people, i.e. tag them with intent, with compliment and relevant to your post. That can be very powerful. And I was listening to a competitor of mine's webinar, and he reckoned he got something like, I can't remember now, 27% more views when he used an emoji in his posts. And my first reaction is, that's bonkers. But you know what? Human beings are bonkers. If more people are going to read my post because there's an emoji there, then put an emoji there. This is about getting people to read your content and to see your content. It is interesting. And then there is what I call the feed formula. This is the algorithm. So LinkedIn wants quality content. How do they judge quality content? What happens is when you post, LinkedIn will push your post out to about 10% of your connections to test it. And then how will they know that it's quality content? If your post gets about, we use 15 likes and comments. It's not about shares, it's about likes and comments that you then comment back on, all within 2 hours of posting, and that window is critical. And it's interesting because I've got a YouTube specialist advising me that it's the same thing there. Then the algorithm goes, this must be good content because you've got a lot of your connections liking and commenting, a lot of people engaging in your post that you are engaging back on very quickly. So we will now boost this to the rest of your network and the network of those that have engaged. And so I've said 5 times my results, you will get maximum exposure instantly. And what that led us to do 2.5 years ago was to create the Post Party Club. And I'll just touch on it quickly because you can go to postpartyclub.co.uk or .com. It's the same. I had a guy yesterday who said, yeah, we've got a group of us on WhatsApp. And I went, I know what you're going to say. He said, it's not working. I said, I know, and I know all the reasons why, and we can touch on them. But what we've done is we've built a tech portal. My same developers who have built the automation we've been using for 6 years. And there's actually 4 of us around the world. So we've got scale and we've got uniqueness because people want to see unique engagement. Everyone, like you post at the same time. There's multiple spots throughout the week. And then the system sends you 15 other people, members post for you to like and comment on. And in return, you're commenting on 15 others. It's random. So LinkedIn wants unique content, remember? Don't just copy and paste a blog into a LinkedIn post. But LinkedIn also wants unique engagement. And that's where most other people trying to get together fall down. So everyone likes and comments on each other's content. You reply to the comments to serve you, to the comments you've got on your posts, or within 2 hours, the algorithm sees it and boosts it, as I've said, to the entire network and beyond. And it's just instant and powerful. You will be able to raise your profile and credibility in this crowded market. You will get thousands of views instantly and then build on that over time. It's about educating your audience and a wider audience. And social media and posts, it is the fishing net. You want to get out there because you want the right people to see it. Searching for someone on SalesNav and then going to connect with them is like the laser rifle. And this is more like the fishing net. You want to get your name out there. You want to get massive exposure of your content, generate more leads and business ultimately. Just very quickly, I'm conscious of time. This guy who's new to LinkedIn, 860. Now, video views are judged differently because I would expect you to get multiple thousands of views of text. People have to watch your video for a certain time before LinkedIn classes it as a view. But then this lady, within less than 24 hours, she got more than 2,000 views. Here's a post I did a long time ago, and I put it up because if you look at the bottom, I got 4,799 views. I so wanted 4,800. Actually, I wanted 5,000. And this is a guy who said within 11 weeks he built his connections. This was automating his direct engagement strategy alongside posting out there with Post Party Club by over nearly 800 new connections in just 11 weeks. That's the massive action, the right stuff we can achieve. Yeah, he was a property developer I mentioned. He had 56 people download his pack, investor pack from his site. He's got them in his database forever, and it raised over 300 grand from new investors. Happy as you like. Now, here's the caveat just quickly. If you've not watched the last 2 sessions, there is no point joining Post Party Club. Go and have a look. There's actually 2 memberships on there, but the website tells you everything. postpartyclub.com. and driving your ideal client to your profile if your profile's terrible, weak, and disengaging. And that's what we covered in session 1 and session 2. So those of you that have not seen those, I urge you to go watch the recordings. I'd urge you to get it right. It can be quick and easy. There's a little bit of time, but you know what? Once you've done it once, it's a sort of a one-off. You've written your profile. Yeah, if you change your target audience, you change your product or service, you might tweak your profile, but you understand how. It's then the right stuff consistently of connecting and engaging and posting. We've got some Q&As up here. I've come off share, so I trust everyone to see me. Mathetho, I hope I pronounced that right. My business has 3 different things that I sell. Is it wise to use the same page to sell these different products or services? Should I rather create 3 profiles and each use for each product? Great question. I think I might have touched on it in session 1. No, keep one profile. LinkedIn doesn't like having multiple profiles, but I don't care about that. There is a great mantra that says abundance. So write this down. Abundance cannot exist where there is complexity or drama. Abundance cannot exist where there is complexity or drama. If you've got 3 profiles, which one do I connect with? Now, I might be interested in only one of your products, but might I be interested in the future and the others? Might I know somebody that is? And then which one you're managing 3 lots of message boxes, and you will create massive complexity for yourself. The art is to write your profile like we talked about on session 1 and 2, like I've written about in KZN's magazine, to be able to talk to each audience and explain what you do in each one. If you look at my profile, you see I've got multiple products and services. I've got multiple revenue streams and businesses. I invest in real estate. I have a share in an audio visual business. It's all on my personal profile. And if you're a small business, I would say there's no real need to have a company page. Bigger businesses do, because they've got marketing departments driving to it. The only reason for you to have a company page is if you are running events. There is an app, and we'll cover that maybe on the next session. There is an absolute gold mine way of getting attendees to your event and getting the data into your business CRM through LinkedIn. And you need to do that through your company page. Post-party club that I've just talked about, with the algorithm to get exposure of your posts, that algorithm is only valid on your personal profile. So you need to be using your personal profile. Even when I'm working with bigger businesses with teams, I might still work with the sales director or the managing director or the business development manager on their profiles. So definitely only one, Mathetho, one profile. It's just about how you write it and structure it. And just to cover that in a little more detail, because it's a great question, I get asked it a lot. I work with some insurance brokers, and we talked, visit session 1. We talked of session 1 or 2. That's recorded and out there with KZN, because we talked about how he split his about section, his experience section, and he talked about commercial insurance, how to insure your van. Underneath, he talked about domestic insurance, how to insure your swimming pool, because you've got clear different products or services. But actually, here's the other marketing mantra, which I've covered before: make it easy. Make it easy for people to find you, for people to contact you, engage with you, inquire from you, buy from you, pay you. So make it easy and split it out. Because if I want to insure my fleet of vans, I don't want to read about how he helps people insure their swimming pools and vice versa. So I hope that makes sense. Just drop me a message in the Q&A there to let me know that it has. Tracy, hi, Andy. How do I accurately calculate engagement rate on LinkedIn? That's an interesting question. Okay. When you say engagement rate, I presume you're talking about posts that we've just covered. I think LinkedIn have changed the word views to impressions. And I am sort of high level, because what I'm interested in is results. Bottom line is, am I getting engagement from people one-on-one on a daily, weekly basis? Now, if you participate in the post-party club, you immediately get 15 of your peers like and comment on your post. That's to kickstart that algorithm. I'm not so bothered about the engagement rate. I want to know the quality. Am I getting the right people? Because how am I answering this? I'm hoping this is sort of making sense. I can look at the number of views, impressions I get on my post, but here's a great example. Polls are powerful on posts. LinkedIn loves polls. And I, again, just had this conversation yesterday. I had a client who posted, he was a business financier, and he posted Should we be in a cashless society? Yes or no? He got 10,000 plus responses and got engagement, because every man and their dog, every person, woman, man, woman, has got an opinion about cash, because we've all got cash. When he posted, as a business owner who has ever tried to raise finance, what has been your biggest problem, this, or this? Now he's the only people answering his absolute target audience. He got a lot less engagement, but they were ideal. Now, the challenge with posts is you want to find a way to follow them up, and there's strategies and ways around that. So I think I'm looking for views, but I'm actually looking for inbound inquiries. So I talk about a hand-raising post. Within Post Party Club, there's 2 memberships. One full membership, we've got resources on how to write posts that have worked, how to use LinkedIn generally. We've got a Facebook group with an inordinate amount of resources, all the magic messages I've talked about. We have fortnightly Zoom members webinars to talk about all this stuff and changes LinkedIn make. Because a hand-raising post is asking someone to ask you for something. So I posted, you'll see it on my profile, just had a great result. And I think it was that client testimonial I've just shown you. Here's what we did. And we did it by creating magic messages to his audience that worked. If you'd like, which I've put into a document, if you'd like a copy of that document, just respond here. Because what I want to do, remember, take it offline as quick as possible. Anyone who said, yes, please, can I have a copy of your magic messages? I'd go, yeah, I've just sent them to you via direct message. Now I can engage with them. Now, how did I rate that engagement? I did that one post. I got 15 people say, yes, I'm now following, talking up 15 people, having conversations, having appointments. And I was getting responses a week and week 2 after, and probably still am if I check into it. So actually, how do I accurately gauge engagement? I want to know, how many conversations am I getting? How many responses back? Now, my engagement there could be good. My actual conversations could be less, because I'm not the best. I am, but you might not be the best at turning it around into a conversation. Remember that example earlier where someone said, I'm not sure? Most people would go, oh, okay. But I said, what are you not sure about? Now he's come back to me and we can try and get a conversation. So I hope that makes sense, Tracy. Margie, valuable session, thank you. How can we get copies of the recordings from the previous 2 sessions? Reach out to Grant and Gail. Maybe you've got some links you can drop into the chat box right now. Certainly Grant and Gail at KZN Top Business will have those. Tracy with posts. So I think I've covered that, haven't I, with posts, I hope. Yes, please, can I have a copy of your magic messages? Okay, Margie, can I ask a favor then? Because I've got so much volume coming in. Unless I don't know who you are. Connect with me on LinkedIn. You will get an automated message saying thanks, and a bit of a sales blurb like I've just gone through. Don't worry about that. Message me back. The moment you message me on LinkedIn personally, I will personally respond and just say, hey, I connected because we were on the KZN webinar. I want your magic messages and I will send them to you. Thanks, Margie. And I love your action, massive action of the right stuff. You know, we get different volumes of people on these calls. We know it goes out onto YouTube and more people see it afterwards. But I commend you for taking action. Why isn't everyone just said, hey, come out your magic messages? And you are welcome, Tracy. Any other questions? Those are coming up in the Q&A. There is also the chat box. I'm very conscious of time. So Gail, if you want to come back online, if there's any other questions, shoot. Let me just reinforce. Connect with me on LinkedIn. You will get some automated messages, but then anything you want to know, this is the way KZN, Grant and Gail and I, and Marlene, the business coach in KZN, are working together. It's their network that I'm happy to help, because Marlene and I are working in great detail. Anything you want to know about LinkedIn, just give me a shout through LinkedIn, message me. Go and have a look at postpartyclub.com, because if you are posting already, it's a no-brainer. If you're posting and not getting thousands of views of your post, you're wasting time, because it is that algorithmic base. And any questions you want to ask, just ask me. And I commend you again, Margie. That's brilliant. And I'm looking forward to the next session. So thanks, Gail.
Thanks, Andy. It's really been a great session. And I reiterate, everyone who's online and who listens, connect with Andy through LinkedIn, and I'm sure that he will be able to help you on your journey in getting responses and connecting with others. And I think I have to re-say your words, and I'm going to read it. Massive action times right stuff times consistency equals results. And I don't think we can say that enough. It applies, if you can get your LinkedIn going and doing this consistency, you will see results. So thank you very much. And thank you to everybody who joined us today.